Thank you guys so much for being with me through 1,000 videos. It's hard to even imagine how we've gotten from this point, and I really wanted to do something special for the 1,000 subscriber milestone, or not 1,000 subscriber, 1,000 video milestone, and I think this video is really going to explain to you guys how I got from point A to point B, and how you guys have helped change my life, because these things are really important to me because they tell how I became the person that I am, and I really do appreciate you guys for sticking with me. So here we go! I was born on an island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean called Oahu, which is the third largest island of Hawaii, and home to the city of Honolulu, where I was born on a military base. My dad was a career Army man. He had been in the Army 23 years before he retired, and apparently, while he was stationed in Korea, he met my mom. A pretty common story I've heard, but the result of them meeting was me, a beautiful baby. That is not really beautiful there, but my artistic skills are lacking. Anyway, regardless of all that, I was born, and I was born awesome and muscular. I was a gigantic baby, apparently, which my mom reminds me of every once in a while. I was 10 pounds and 3 ounces, and therefore they named me Mark. All muscle, of course. Don't doubt me! Shortly after I was born, I was hired from the military to pick up a job as a layout artist for a book company. But ended up in Cincinnati, Ohio, of all places. Not really sure why, because I don't think we really have any family here. Either way, we moved in the home with a gigantic backyard that led into these really amazing woods where we spent most of our time. I mean, if we weren't on the computer, we were out in the woods playing in the creek, picking up tadpoles, cutting vines, swinging on them. I mean, we really bonded together over those woods, and that's one of the things that I miss most about that house. But when we weren't in the woods, we were playing on this magical device called the computer that my dad introduced us to at a very early age. I mean, seriously, this thing blew my mind at the time because I could not imagine ever living without it. I mean, he told me stories about how computers were ancient and filled up entire rooms, but I was just flabbergasted that it could do what it did. I didn't even know about the internet back then. There were a few games on the computer, but the real experience that I got from gaming came from the Super Nintendo system that my brother got for Christmas. I mean, this thing was the reason that me and my brother are so close today, because we played so many games together with it. That's my brother over on the left. His name is Tom, and that's me on the right. As you can tell, I am still more awesome, but he's a pretty cool guy, and I don't think I'd be who I am today without him. Sadly, it wasn't all happy times back then. My dad and my mom fought a lot, and by fought a lot, I mean my mom fought a lot, and my dad had to reciprocate. She wasn't happy where she was, and, well, we didn't understand why, but me and my brother just tried to distract ourselves with video games. You know, try to ignore it what we can. But eventually that stopped. When it came. I mean, we were pretty sad, but we were more sad to see our dad just kind of income was gone, so we had to lose the house. We couldn't buy as many games as we had before, so we lost out on a lot of gaming, but at least we got to keep the computer, and that's what really sparked my love of computers and technology. I should also mention that I was a pretty dumb kid. Me and my brother had a contest where we would try to jump as high as we could off the stairs and see who could land on a cushion at the bottom. I was gonna win, but I ended up cracking my skull open on the bottom step. This will make more sense later, but as I mentioned before, I was a dumb kid. When we moved out of the house, I could no longer go to the private school that we were going to, which was perfectly fine with me because I didn't really care, but it's all that I knew. I didn't even understand what lockers were all about when I went to the new school. I mean, just everything was perfectly foreign to me, and I didn't have an escape, I didn't go to the woods anymore, and I lost pretty much all of my friends and had to start all over. It was a pretty dark time for me because I had no idea what I was doing. But anyway, I made some friends, but I accidentally did something else stupid, and I was having a how far out the monkey bars can you jump contest, and I was gonna win, but I ended up falling on the ground and breaking my arm, like, really badly. Both bones and stuff, they were popping out everywhere. But this is actually a good thing. That's my brother there, shocked. But this is a good thing because this led to me finding some friends. And you may ask, well, how did that happen? Well, it happened like this. I had a cast on my arm and couldn't do things like sharpen my pencil. So this really awesome guy named Drew decided that he was going to help me. And Drew is a tall redhead, but he was a cool guy anyway. He also got me more into band, which is where I made a bunch more friends, and where I blew his face off with my awesome trumpeting skills. Hi-ta! Eventually, after dating around for a long time, my dad found someone that we could all agree on. She was pretty much the nicest person that we ever met, and her name was Dee. I mean, I agreed with her because she bought us a PlayStation 2, and I was pretty excited at the time. But also, she did something that we couldn't do at that time, and she made my dad happy. And that was pretty much the most important thing that anyone could do. And from then on, high school started to become a breeze. I was moving through the grades, doing fine, being a good student. I made a lot of great friends, both in band and out of band. I got to play some great games, I was really happy with what I'd done, like Half-Life 2 and stuff. And I had a few girlfriends here and there, and that's always pretty fun when you're just a young teenager and first experiencing the wonders of a relationship and making out and stuff. That was pretty cool. And all in all, things were looking up from that period where we didn't really have anything and didn't have games again, and we're kind of unhappy drifting through life. So things were looking up all the way to going to college, and I was really excited to finally be able to go out on my own. But then my father brought me some bad news. He put a piece of paper in front of me and just let me read it without saying anything. And I was a pretty smart kid, so I understood every word that it said, all the techno mumbo jumbo, but the main thing is that in basically big bold letters it said cancer, and the really bad kind of cancer. So that was a really tough time for me because I kind of lost sight of what I was doing. Everything seemed kind of clear to me before, but right now everything was kind of just getting away from me. I thought I knew exactly what I wanted to do, which was make video games. I wanted to do it. My dad didn't agree with me, but I thought that was what I was going to do. However, I started to realize that games might not work, so I kind of put that off the table and focused on going to engineering. I was originally in civil engineering, but moved into biomedical engineering because they had a medical school program. But that didn't work out either. I didn't want to do that, so I flip-flopped back to engineering again, and then I thought, hey, if I'm going to do what I want to do, I got to do games, and I really couldn't decide what I was going to do with my life. I was kind of at a crossroads and just frustrated. Then 1 year later, we were all home for summer, and my dad was getting pretty bad with cancer, and he wasn't himself anymore. But one morning, we were all woken up by stepmom Dee screaming, and we went downstairs to see that my dad was dying. And the last words that he said to me were, "I love you so much." And I held my dad's hand as he died. After my dad died, I became more confused than I was before because I was so far into engineering that I didn't think that I could get out anymore. And I was stuck in these mind-numbing co-op jobs that were literally me sitting at a computer 8 hours a day, doing 2 hours worth of work and nothing else. It was absolutely horrible, and I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life. And I didn't have time for games, I didn't have an escape, I had no idea what I was gonna do. So I kind of drifted for a few years. And I dated in and out, from girl to girl, but I eventually met this one girl who I kind of liked. She was really cool and really nice, and her name will be Barbara. That's what we're going to call her for now. Her name will be Barbara with a C. But anyway, I finally brought her to my mom, who I was living with, because after my dad died, I didn't have my own place, and she did not approve, which made me mad, and she was kind of confused. I was very upset because my mom got so mad that she eventually kicked me out. And there's more to it than that, but that's basically the long and the short of it. So I got mad, and she got mad. And then I went off and get my own apartment because I had a job at the time, that crummy co-op job, but it was still a job. Unfortunately, after I got my new place, my boss told me 3 days before I was supposed to come in for the new quarter that I didn't need to show up, which made me more mad. But I didn't yell at my boss, professionalism and all that. But at the end of the day, I was running out of money and my girlfriend wasn't helping me, and then she started getting mad at me for not being able to do something or other. I can't really remember why she was mad. She was mad so often. But eventually this caused a schism in the relationship, and the stress started to get to me. I was sadder and sadder than I was before, and I just couldn't be in the relationship anymore. But after we left each other, I was stuck alone in my apartment,